Hey guys, what's up? This is Intel drop number 40, The Planned Holocaust of the Soul, part 1. Now these Intel drops, I'm not necessarily reading them in order, but don't worry about it. I might bounce around. Now I've already read through this, and some of it's bullshit. I know what's bullshit and what isn't. So when I'm reading it, I'll let you know if something's bullshit or if it's for real. Okay, it floored me, but they have done it. They have been doing it, Bill. They've been doing it for 3 years. It is in all of the food. And now it is in us, you and me, everyone. Now what they're talking about is nano, and yes, I believe that is true. So, Intel drop number 40. Bill. A lot of information has been coming into our team the past week, and it has to do with the disinfo we talked about before. Can you get into that? Gideon. Yes, we are receiving disinformation through various sources whom we trust, whom are also getting disinformation themselves. We are dealing with that and parsing real information from false information. Bill, is the Cabal doing this right? Gideon, yes. They are very much aware of what we are doing, and this is one way they can send us down rabbit holes that go nowhere, or get us to publish false information to discredit us later. Bill, do you think they're achieving this? Gideon, yes and no. We are catching some of this information and correcting it as we go. My sources are aware too. The whistleblowers are aware of it as well. Bill, what's disinfo, in your view right now, and what's real? Gideon, there are two major issues to address right now. First, that the cyber attack plan may be disinformation, or the Cabal changes their plans for it, for reasons I will explain. Secondly, we learned more about the nanotech food program, which we talked about many Intel drops ago. Bill, yes, food supply is a huge concern, but the past few months, we weren't getting much info on that, right? Now, I've seen before that they were putting all this nano stuff in the water supply of all the different major cities, and in the bottled water and other drinks, like Coke and Pepsi. Gideon, correct. We were not. We were unsure of how the Cabal would roll it out, but we knew for certain the technology to put nanotech into the food supply was available to them. Bill, for those reading who don't know what we're talking about, it has to do with the Cabal poisoning the food supply with nanotech. We talked about a safe food list that would be given to the sovereigns. What's the status on that? Gideon, it was a type of disinformation, Bill. There will not be a safe food list at all. Instead, there will be an antidote. I don't know if this is true or not. An antidote? Yes, something to neutralize this nanotech in the bloodstream. Something the sovereigns will take. Is it already in the food supply? Yes. That's a new revelation. We didn't think they had done it yet. It floored me, but they have done it. They have been doing it, Bill. They have been doing it for 3 years. It is in all the food. I recommend to you guys to get a telescope and start looking at foods and drinks under the telescope and see if there's anything weird under there. Actually look to see if there is shit in there. And now it is in us, you and me, everyone. An estimated 99.8% of the human population has it now. What is it? Self-assembling nanoparticles were placed in the food, starting during the COVID pandemic and ongoing since then. Impervious to high heat and cooking methods, and they are the augmentation that will be in our blood. They are the augmented tech I spoke about recently, also called graphinated electro nanoparticles. Yeah, some people have said that they put graphene in people's body, and that when they got that thing, that magnets stuck to their arm. And I know somebody who I'm related to, and they said, yeah, a magnet did stick to their arm. I never got it, so I don't know. I never got the thing. And guess what? You didn't need it. I didn't need it. Bill, this is the thing that will compromise the soul that we talked about? Gideon, yes. Now, there is no soul. This is the bullshit I was talking about. It's basically mind control with nano and frequencies from Signal's intelligence bases. Bill, we wondered if they had already deployed it, so it turns out they have. Is it activated yet? Is it doing something inside of us? Gideon, it is not activated yet. It is not affecting anyone at all at this point. That's not true. At least as far as we know. Well, I guess they don't know. The Cabal does not want to harm their own sovereigns who also consumed it. They need to get the antidote first. So I suggest you guys go to the bottom of my page on YouTube, and there's a video, one of the first couple videos I made. It's called Freemason Mind Control Secrets Revealed. And it shows exactly how the nano works with frequencies and how they're controlling it from Signal's intelligence bases. It even tells you the frequencies and what they do. Bill, what will happen to those who don't get the antidote? Gideon, we do not know for sure. Except the nanotech is all remotely controlled, and they can do anything to anyone with it. That's true. They can assassinate anyone. They can speak to them in their minds. They can give them visions. Some of these visions are known to involve a red demon of some kind. Now, yes, there's no such thing as demons, but they can do all that other stuff. They can make you hear things, see things, And yeah, they can make you see red. They can make you see anything. You know how you have your phone or your laptop and you download a YouTube video? Well, in order for you to download a YouTube video, you're downloading audio and video. That means all the shit you see on your screen is going through the air, and all the stuff you hear coming out of your speakers is going through the air. So audio and video goes through the air with frequencies. It goes to your cell phone and your laptop. And they can just redirect that exact signal to someone's head because of this nano. And your brain is just like a computer. And they're already torturing people with this stuff. So yeah, it already is activated. I don't know what these guys are talking about. Bill, when will it be activated? Gideon, sometime during or after the period that CSRQ comes online. This period of economic turmoil and destruction of the United States and fiat currencies. All the information I have points to early 2024. I wouldn't get hooked up on dates. These dates come out and nothing happens. People keep giving these dates over and over again. Just forget about exact dates. Trying to predict time and dates and shit. Bill, this is horrifying. What about the cyber attack? Let's get back to that, because you said you have new information. Gideon, I have reason to believe it is some kind of disinfo. Disinfo fed to me, to my sources, and also being fed to the masses at large. It may even cover for the nanotech we were talking about, to distract people from that operation. I do believe what I said about the 150 million deaths in the United States may still be true, but may not be due to a cyber attack, but instead it refers to the nanotech or some other plan. Bill, we wondered if the predictive programming was heavy-handed on this. That's what that is? Gideon, yes, the Cabal is signaling there will be a massive cyber attack. They are putting this out everywhere, including films, and also on a new, heavily followed QAnon Twitter. It is all over. It even began to appear after our intel drop too. This made me inquire and ask a lot more questions, and engage in a number of discussions with my sources. We began to question it. Bill, so is there a plan for this or not, or is it misdirection? Gideon, there is a plan for it, Bill, and it is in place, and they can do it if they choose. Many tests have already been done, which we have seen. Many telecom companies have had outages the past year. These outages have been frequent. The preparation is there, but we are unsure if the Cabal has changed plans or issued some kind of disinfo. Bill, well, you talked about how they can see the future, and they're changing plans all the time to find timelines that better suit outcomes for them. Is that what this is? I think that's bullshit. I don't think they can see the future. It's horse shit. Gideon, yes, that is exactly what we think it is. Bill, did our intel drop have an impact? Gideon, I believe it did, because immediately after we posted it, more stories came out about the cyber attack, are all from Cabal sources. This means they may have changed plans and decided to issue a lot of false warnings so that when no attack happens, we will be discredited. It also serves as a cry wolf type of disinfo that scares people, then lulls them back to sleep when nothing happens. Bill, I get that completely. They do that. The Cabal issues a lot of false warnings. Gideon, false warnings are part of the Cabal mind control techniques. If you issue enough of them, the people paying attention stop paying attention. They are let down by false dates, false predictions, to the point they begin to believe that nothing will happen. QAnon has done this many times, and in that case, they were predictions of arrests of Cabal members that never came. The Cabal understands why this type of programming is so important, to neutralize the opposition. We have to realize that these false dates and predictions do not mean there is not a plan in place. We know there is. It is called the Great Reset. It is called CSRQ. It is called USDR. It has to do with Agenda 2030. These are real plans, not false ones. The Cabal is simply angling and maneuvering to ensure the resistance is completely disabled, demoralized, and confused by the time these real events transpire. Bill, the level of deception blows my mind. There's no end to it. Lies on top of lies. Gideon, that is because this is all the work of Satan, the king of lies. That's bullshit. Religion's bullshit. There's no Satan, so he's wrong on that. So yeah, more bullshit there. The Great Reset, yeah, that's real. Agenda 2030, yeah, that's real. It's a United Nations Sustainable Development. But Satan, the king of lies, there's no fucking religion's bullshit, man. You can completely dismiss religion. It's not real. Although they do sort of follow their book and try to make it come real so they can brainwash their followers into thinking it's real. Bill, how confident are you right now where you stand that we have the best intel, that we are not being misled? Gideon, I am always confident, Bill, because I have a guide, and I have others who are good people, good sources, who can react to the disinformation and diffuse it or decipher it. We are working through the thick of the deceptions put out by the Cabal and finding the kernels of truth that will lead us in the right direction. Bill, I want you to boil it down for everyone. Give everyone right now your best intel and grasp on what's going on. Gideon, cyber attack plans are in place. They are real. It is expected to happen, and it should happen as we reported. However, the Cabal is known to change plans if their tricks are revealed or exposed, or if their future timeline information reveals a better course of action. This is where they're talking about where the upper class can see into the future. That's bullshit. We do not know for sure, but right now it appears there is far too much public awareness of the cyber attack plan, and it is being discussed everywhere. This suggests the Cabal shifted plans, but the outcome or end result may not be much different. Bill, why do they need so many plans though? It seems to be a cyber attack would work. Gideon, the Cabal is arrogant, but they are not stupid. If they want to pull off the total enslavement of mankind, basically communism, worldwide communism, they want to ensure their plans cannot be foiled, cannot be exposed or stopped. It is prudent to have many plans on the table and choose the best course of action with the highest predicted success. They also have highly advanced AI computers charting and predicting the best moves to make as well. They may shrewdly signal one plan, a cyber attack, then surprise everyone with something else entirely. This keeps their opposition completely confused. These are high-level psyops. And I have seen that over the years, where a lot of people are making predictions about stuff happening at certain dates and it doesn't happen. And that actually is a good technique to get people to stop paying attention to conspiracies, to put out fake information. Bill, I get it, I do, but I'm worried people will read this and say, you said this one last thing last intel drop, now you're saying something else. I feel like we're discrediting ourselves. Should we even publish this? Gideon, we should. Unlike the Cabal gatekeepers, we tell the truth with the best information we have, even if it goes against previous things we reported. We will get fed this info from time to time, and the right thing to do is to immediately report it, or in this case, question it. Bill, I guess you're not really walking back anything. I'm sorry if I'm overstating things here. You're just saying to be aware the Cabal may change plans, right? That's all this is. Gideon, that is all. Correct. If the cyber attack plan exists, it is real, it can and could happen. But it is very possible plans were changed. It was odd the Cabal would release such a sudden burst of predictive programming at once after what we reported. Bill, I do agree on that. Now we need to get back to the nanotech in the food and how it ties into the augmented tech you talked about. This is a very, very big deal, in my opinion. It changes everything we know. Gideon, it does. Now I do believe they have some sort of nano in the food, but if you really want to find out, you need to get a microscope and look at all the food and drinks under a microscope and see if it's true or not. Because I don't know 100% if that's what they did. Maybe they didn't. You have to look. Get a microscope. Bill, what's scary is you're saying it's already in us. We couldn't have avoided it. Gideon, no. Not unless you lived on an organic farm, completely cut off from society for the past 3 years, and only consumed that food. Even animal feed is compromised, so your animal feed would have to be organic and clean as well. The problem is, even the organic feed companies were compromised. You would need to source the animal feed yourself. Almost no one does that. Bill, right. We talked about this in a past intel drop. This nanotech will go into everything, into the animals, all we eat. Gideon, it already has. Bill, did the uprising in the Netherlands over the farmers have to do with this? Gideon, it did, but it was a cover for a major secret Cabal operation. The farmers were not aware of it, but they unwittingly played into the Cabal's hands on it. Bill, one thing I learned is that the Netherlands produces an enormous amount of the world's food. This is true, right? Gideon, yes, it is. So compromising that food supply was key and critical. Many other food supply chains have been compromised as well. Bill, is this why all of those food processing plants were burned down and blown up a year or two ago? I remember there was a guy reporting on that, Ice Age Farmer. He just disappeared out of nowhere, and people haven't, he hasn't made any videos about all these food processing plants being blown up and burnt up for a couple of years now. Do any of you know what happened to Ice Age Farmer? Gideon, that was part of the operation, so that food had to be funneled through fewer companies, more Cabal-controlled operations. In some instances, evidence was also covered up. There were some food workers who discovered the plot. Many of them were murdered, and this did not make the news. Bill, this is incredible. I mean, we think we know what's going on, but then we don't. We're getting half the picture, it seems like. Gideon, the tragedy is that many of my sources were compromised, and they did not know it. They are good people. Like the whistleblowers, they were fed some false information, or a mix of truth and lies. Yeah, that happens constantly. People they trusted betrayed them. People who they relied on for intel betrayed them. A lot has gone on behind the scenes whereby relationships and networks of communication have completely broken down the past month. Bill, you mean since all this disinfo is being rooted out? Gideon, yes. Bill, are you leading the way on this? Gideon, I am a part of it, but there are others who knew even more than me. We are really working hard to find the best intel, find that we can really verify and rely on. What has not changed is that CSRQ is a real system being developed. USDR is the future digital currency, and that a global reset will happen. None of that has changed based on all the feedback I get. Yeah, and the global reset is communism. Communism with a digital currency, a set amount of money for everybody every month, and a social credit score. Bill, the whistleblowers are in contact with a high-level person at CSRQ. How's that going? Gideon, very well. That person saved our operation, saved our team. They took a step of courage to do what they have done, and I'm very impressed with the attention to detail they took to ensure they were successful. Bill, how do you mean? Gideon, well, I have since found out that they are very well trained in certain tactics, things the Cabal had taught them, and that they are now using against the Cabal. Bill, this might sound a little far out, but do you think they have a guide like you do? Gideon, I believe they do. Bill, you know more, but you don't want to say it. Gideon, yes, it is best for their protection. Bill, so at this point, we know the tech has been in the food, and now it's in us. This has nothing to do with the blank, right? I mean, those who didn't take the blank have this tech too. Gideon, we all have the nanotech augmentation in us. If we ate anything in the past 3 years, we have it. If we ate organic or even healthy, it did not matter. It is in us. So I never took that thing, but I have been attacked with frequencies for years. And I was attacked with frequencies before the incident that shut down the world and everybody had to take that. So yeah, you can get zapped with frequencies. They've been doing that for years. That was way before any of those things. Bill, some people won't believe the tech could exist, but we know it can easily exist and has for years. Can you discuss that? Because people will dismiss us and say some kind of nanotech in the food isn't even possible. Gideon, if someone doubts that this technology could exist, they are either a Cabal agent or simply highly ill-informed or not informed at all. It was never a matter of whether the Cabal could do this. They could. It was a matter of when and how. Now we know. It is the worst-case scenario. It has already been deployed. We also know, or we believe we know, how it is activated. Bill, how? Gideon, Starlink. Bill, the satellites? Gideon, yes. And there are over 5,000 already in orbit. They litter the skies, and they can monitor and track every person on Earth. Well, what I know about these frequencies is that they're controlled from Signals Intelligence bases. So in Canada, that's Canadian Forces Station Leitrim. CFS Leitrim, which is just south of Ottawa, they control Signals Intelligence. And Signals Intelligence is how they attack people with frequencies. It is a satellite base. Bill, not 5G then? All I heard about for years was the dangers of 5G. Gideon, 5G was another Cabal disinfo campaign. That is why we did not discuss it often in our intel drops. It was a distraction from what was really going on. I knew some time ago it was. So we have spoken more about Starlink, which is something the gatekeepers and conspiracy groups never even talk about. That shows you right there now disinfo works. Distracting people with one thing and steering them away from another. Well, I'll tell you what. How many other of these truth tellers online have you heard talk about Signals Intelligence bases? Yeah, none of them mention it. Not one. I've never heard one of these guys on fucking BitChute or Rumble or YouTube talk about Signals Intelligence bases. That's how you know someone's a shill. They never mention Signals Intelligence bases. In the United States, the Signals Intelligence is controlled by the NSA. And the military, one of the military bases that controls it is, I think it's in Colorado. Bill, true, they never talk about Starlink and people seem to love Elon Musk. But is 5G dangerous at all? Gideon, it is not healthy to be exposed to it for a long time, but it has short range. It appears the Cabal wanted to use it for facial recognition and close-range mapping. I do not know how it works entirely. For the interim, it is used for high-speed data transmission in some cities. I personally believe it was a major Cabal disinfo campaign to distract people and send people in the wrong direction. But that is not to say 5G is a good thing either. Bill, I almost need a moment to just rest and take this all in. Can we take a break? I still want to talk. I just mean privately. Gideon, yes. Conversation resumes. Bill, okay, I cleared some things up. I just don't want to waste time here. People will have questions. I want to make sure I cover it all. We need to talk a lot more about the nanotech and the augmented tech. What is it? Gideon, I will give you the best knowledge I have at this time. I'm going to take my time with this response, Bill. It is in our bloodstream, basically, but more to the point, it collects in our bone marrow and parts of the brain and heart and solar plexus. I believe the nano connects to everybody's nervous system. It is difficult to see with most microscopes, but it can be seen with certain electron microscopes. Some people have discovered it and mistook it for those remnants. What was found was not related to the blanks necessarily. It was related to the nanotech that was being dispensed through the food supply and the drinks. In fact, the issuance of these may have been partly a cover for this huge nano food supply deployment to explain why strange things were appearing in blood. People thought it was the blank, and in part it may have been, but we now believe that was a cover for this augmented nanotech. It appears a type of graphene is involved in the construction, but they are self-assembling, and once they enter the body, they begin to build themselves into more complex but microscopic structures. We think Starlink actually signals the nanoparticles and tells them what to do and directs them through some kind of mass signaling from space. It is also possible these same signals could come from Wi-Fi or cell towers too. In any case, it is completely impossible to avoid all the EMF waves that are directing this nanotech within our bodies to perform self-assembly in greater complexity. The only way you could shut down this whole frequency attack thing is from the ground. Basically, you'd have to shut down the signals intelligence bases. That's the key to it all. You'd have to basically go citizens arrest everybody in the signals intelligence bases. Take over the bases and shut down all the fucking computers. And shut down all the satellite dishes. What is alleged is that they can drain energy from the human soul. Now that sounds like bullshit to me. There's no soul. This is religious horseshit. Which is located reportedly in the center of the chest, near or within the heart, or below the heart. And this is bullshit, man. This is not fucking true. Contrary to some assumptions, the soul's not in the brain. It does not reside there. Okay, there's no soul. I don't even want to read this if it's bullshit. I'll tell you what. I'm just going to read everything, and I'll tell you if it's bullshit or not. The soul vibrates at a higher resonance than this dimension. Okay, now there's two bullshits. There's no other dimensions that I know of, and there's no soul, thus making it difficult for scientific instruments to detect it. There's nothing to detect. Just as they cannot figure out what dark energy is, which is not dark at all, it is simply 95% of the rest of the universe our scientists cannot see or understand, and our souls are included in that. There are no souls. When you die, it's over. The Cabal is, in fact, obsessed with the human soul, controlling it, harvesting it, and capturing it. This is bullshit. Bill, I don't want to interrupt, but how does the soul stay in the body? I mean, what keeps it there? This is stupid. This is fucking dumb. Gideon, during death, if the heart stops long enough, something causes the soul to be released. Or better put, ejected from the body quickly. This is horseshit. Often a soul will hover over the body a bit, then eventually follow a light and leave this dimension and enter the next, the astral. Okay, more horseshit. But to answer your question, I do not know the exact mechanism that keeps it connected to the body. Bill, I have a million questions now, but I don't want to get off track on what this nanotech does. Can you describe the purpose of this augmented nanotech? Gideon, the ultimate purpose of this nanotech is multifold, so let us go over that. First, it can cause harm, disease, and kill a person when activated. The Cabal is extremely excited, reportedly, about its multifaceted abilities to control people in this way or eliminate them. Yes, that's true. If there's nano in our bodies, which I don't know if there is, but I do know they torture us with frequencies. That's 100% true. They can torture you with frequencies, zap you. It's basically like being zapped with electricity. And they can zap any part of your body, and they can just torture you 24 hours a day for years, and or they can kill you. They can attack any part of your body through your nervous system with these frequencies. And I really don't give a flying F if anyone believes this or not. Don't believe it. I don't care, because I 100% know it's true because I've used it on me. This isn't just some theory I'm reading. They used this shit on me. Second, it can control the mind, induce hallucinations, vocal sounds in the voice, and issue audible commands. That's V2K, voice to skull, and it's vision to skull. Third, it can record thoughts and upload them to a sort of cloud the Cabal controls that will store a person's thoughts. I don't know if that's true. Fourth, it has other purposes with respect to the soul itself we do not fully understand or know about. There's no soul. That's bullshit. We have suspicions it can harvest the soul's energy, attach itself to the soul semi-permanently, and keep the soul trapped in this dimension after death, so the soul cannot ascend to God or reach heaven. Bullshit, 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 and more bullshit. That whole fucking thing I just read is bullshit. Bill, you told me about a black plasma grid. What is that? Gideon, some type of artificial structure the Starlink satellites are building around Earth. I have no idea if this is true. We have no further information, except that may have to do with interfacing with the nanotech and trapping the soul from escaping this realm after death. There is no soul, so that's bullshit. These are the most terrifying implications of this technology because it separates us from God. There is no God. There's a lot of bullshit in what I'm reading here. But, you know, I know exactly what's true and what isn't, so I'm like your guide through the turd minefield. Bill, is it the mark of the beast? Gideon, it is possible, but the way it was deployed without anybody knowing violated God's laws. Bill, of course it did, but maybe it's not the mark. Gideon, I do not want to really speculate because I simply do not know. Bill, this is so much to take in. I can't even think straight right now. What about the sovereigns? They're going to be okay? Gideon, they will. The antidote is some kind of compound mixture that will be provided to all sovereigns in some way. It will be something you drink once, and it will dissolve all the nano assemblies completely. I have no idea if that's true. Bill, how will they know where to get it? I know one thing. There was this guy, I forget his name, Michael something. He was a Mexican guy, and basically he had built a device using wires wrapped around barrels and then putting a charge through them to make an EMP. Michael Chapella. His name is Michael Chapella. He's dead now. And what he did, he put people in a barrel wrapped with wire, magnetic wire all around it, and he'd attach both ends of the wire to a power source like liquid-filled capacitors, and then he'd hook up a knife switch to that, and he'd send a quick charge through the wire, and it would create an EMP, and supposedly this electromagnetic pulse, it would overload the circuitry of the nano and destroy the nano. And people said after they got that treatment by Michael Chapella, who was in Mexico, northern Mexico, that they wouldn't be getting attacked by the frequencies anymore and tortured and stuff. But he's dead. Gideon, the CSRQ app we will have access to will describe what to do and where to go. As long as we have our biometric ID, we will have access one way or another. We will be able to enter that into an app on our phones or computers or even at banking locations, and we will be given instructions. There will probably be nondescript locations to retrieve the antidote, or it may even be delivered to our homes. Bill, couldn't a sovereign go to the news and tell the world about it? Gideon, they could, but they would not do that. It would mean they would be killed. Their family would be killed, and furthermore, the information would be quickly censored to begin with. No sovereign has that motivation at all to begin with. They are looking out for themselves. They will covet and protect this information with their lives. Bill, of course. I forget sometimes most of them, well, all of them are just completely selfish and evil. Do you think we could get this antidote and give it to others and save everyone else? Gideon, I would expect only enough will be produced for the 10 million or so sovereigns in the world, and beyond that, it is not likely much more would be made to save anyone else. I do not think the cabal would want that to even be a possibility, nor would I expect the ingredients would be released so it could be manufactured. Bill, right, of course. Then what do we do? Gideon, I want this information out, in the hopes it does something to stop it. I think the only thing you can do to stop it is to shut down the signals intelligence bases. I can't see what else you could do. But, you got to take action to do that. But I fear it is not enough. Our intel drops seem to make a small difference. They seem to impact the timelines the cabal is looking at, but we are just staving off the inevitable. Not enough people read these or are aware of any of this. Bill, it breaks my heart. Bill, I know. Michael posted something about that on our Twitter. Why we can't get through and reach people, but the gatekeepers do. People just aren't waking up in time, and we're still being attacked by agents. Some of them are really nasty and demonic. There's no such thing as demons. They're just asswipes. Gideon, we do not believe this can be stopped. All we can do is work with the whistleblowers and work with our team at this point. Bill, how has our team program been going? Gideon, good, but agents have tried to infiltrate it. We expected that, but it has slowed some progress. We are dealing with some threats right now. Michael knows, we just have to deal with it. I pray we will not be exposed or our team compromised. I mean, get fucking real. They're all over the computer. What kind of horseshit is this? Who knows who these fucking people are, man? Anyway, Bill. It is working though, right? Gideon, it is. Bill, We have to fit into how CSRQ works, what the Cabal is doing. It's stressful getting USDR. I wish there was a way around it, but there doesn't seem to be. Gideon, there's no reason to stress over it, Bill, because we are being given an incredible opportunity no one else has. Bill, you're right. You're absolutely right. I guess that's for our protected pages to discuss, not here. Gideon, it will be kept for our private pages, yes. Bill, okay, let me get back on track here. Can you give a synopsis of what's going to happen in 2024, for example? What's your best prediction? Gideon, 2024 and 2025 are critical dates for the Cabal, because everything must be completed by 2030. They will have 5 or 6 years to get it done. Any shorter time period, and they know they will not be able to. I mean, it is called Agenda 2030, United Nations Sustainable Development. We are also looking at a possible magnetic pole flip in 2025. I don't believe that at all. It sounds like horse shit. Which is going to play into Cabal's hands because they are prepared for it. We are up against what will be a hellish 2 years for mankind. This sounds like horse shit. I don't believe this. Bill, do you think the magnetic pole flip is disinfo? I do. Gideon, at this time, all of my sources are confident it is going to happen, and the Cabal knows as well. No, I don't think so. I don't think that sounds like bullshit to me. Bill, you said the Cabal will come out with this free energy tech during the magnetic flip, but with strings attached. That has to do with CSRQ, of course, but also this augmented tech, right? Gideon, correct. By 2025, humanity will have experienced tremendous upheaval and strife. See, here's this date setting again that I don't think people should get caught up on date setting, because constantly shit is being predicted and it doesn't happen. Gideon, correct. By 2025, humanity will have experienced tremendous upheaval and strife. The Cabal will announce their protective, life-saving technology and measures to save us all from this pole flip. Not going to be no goddamn pole flip. This is bullshit. And it will involve the augmented tech and free energy. People will have to accept total enslavement. It will not be presented that way, of course, but it will be enslavement. You know, I was thinking, the way we treat lions, human beings treat lions. You know, we go on safari, we watch the lions, and we find them very interesting. But, even though the lions are potentially dangerous, we don't go and destroy the lions and kill the lions. Unless a lion attacks human beings, us human beings, we just sort of watch them. And that could be the way the upper class looks at the lower class. They just sort of watch the lower class. And unless the lower class, tries to physically attack them, then they may just, leave the lower classes alone and watch them. I mean, that's what we do with lions. So that could be how they use their weapons, too. Their weapons could be like, if you attack them, they use them against you. If you, if you don't try to violently attack them, they probably just watch you. We still do not know for sure how the augmented tech will be revealed. Well, it's being revealed already online. Or if the Cabal will tell the truth that it was in the food supply, or explain it as some virus or even effects of the magnetic flip. We simply do not know for sure. We just know the augmented tech exists and it is already in us. It is also possible no one will be told about it. It's already all over the internet. A lot of people don't believe it because there's so much disinformation and bullshit lies on the internet. People don't know what to believe and what's real. They don't know what's real and what's fake. I do to a good extent, because I've been watching this shit for years. Bill, when will sovereigns get the antidote? Gideon, very likely early to mid-2024 this will be provided. They will ensure all 10 million sovereigns receive it before 2025, and before the augmented tech is activated by Starlink. Well, it's activated by the signals intelligence bases. I've already said that multiple times. Bill, that makes sense. So we have some time, not a lot, but some. Gideon, we have almost no time because our team program may not even be feasible for much longer. CSRQ may come online in early 2024. Here's more date setting. It's already 2024 and it hasn't happened. We have very little time to prepare for this. See, that's why you can't listen to these fucking dates, because people are constantly trying to predict things happen at a certain date and it doesn't happen. Bill, I still can't comprehend how horrible this is, that the nanotech is already in us. Is there any natural way to flush it out? Gideon, I have asked about this and I have been told it is impossible. It is so deeply embedded in our bodies, and by design it is that way. The Cabal did not want a household or natural remedy to rid us of it. So it was designed to act as an aggressive parasite and flood our bodies, and even integrate and self-assemble within us using our own cells and proteins. Well, like I've already mentioned, there was that guy in Mexico named Michael Chapela. He sort of like went across the border back and forth between Mexico and Texas. He created what was basically a device that would create an electromagnetic pulse around your body. And supposedly that overloaded the circuits of the nano. Now, if you go on my YouTube page, there's a video I made 2 years ago. It's 45 minutes and 57 seconds long. It's called Operation NanoQuell, the Artificial Nervous System, the Unabomber, and the Anti-Nano Barrel. You might want to watch that video because I do discuss Michael Chapella, and there's another guy who created this anti-nano barrel by wrapping a wire around a big barrel and attaching both ends to a car battery. And he actually shows that it creates a strong magnetic field. You can see the magnet flipping when he puts it in the big barrel. Anyway, watch that video on YouTube on my channel. It was 2 years ago, and the picture for the video is a picture of the Unabomber, and it's in black and white. And it shows him sitting in prison behind a piece of plexiglass. Also at the bottom of my YouTube page, you can watch Freemason Mind Control Secrets Revealed and watch the Freemason Gang Stalking Manual Exposed, parts 1, 2, and 3. They have a lot of good information on them. They're some of the first videos I made. Some of the best videos made. I mean, this is when I started first making videos. You'll see the videos aren't as good. But, and plus I was playing music in them, which was too loud. But you know, the more you do something, the better you get at it. I'm better at making videos now. I just keep getting better and better. Really, you should start at the beginning of my videos and just start watching them from the beginning on YouTube and watch them all the way up. And you'll learn so much shit. You'll see so much evidence of crimes being committed against me. Anyway, back to this. Bill, now that I know I have it in me right now, that makes me uncomfortable. It makes me even more scared if my sovereign status got revoked. If our team is found out or compromised, we are finished. Gideon, we would be, yes. Bill, what has our guide said about the nanotech? Gideon, well, a conversation I had with them many months ago now has very new meaning. They did tell me, I just did not realize it. They know everything about it, but I have not spoken to them since my own sources confirmed it to me. Bill, will you be speaking to your guide again or soon? I hope so. Gideon, I rely on emergency communications from them, and they have not contacted me. I will await word. They are always there at the right time, I find. Bill, I understand. What about non-sovereigns? All the good people out there. I feel horrible for them. What can be done? Gideon, I do not know, Bill. I want to do more. I wish we could tell the whole world, but our reach is very limited. We are blocked at every turn from getting the information out. Bill, you mentioned privately there's a lot of predictive programming in movies and TV for this augmented tech, this nano soul tech, but that nobody has documented it yet. Can you explain what you mean? There's no soul. Gideon, no one is looking for augmented nanotech that will compromise the mind, body, and soul. Yeah, it'll compromise your mind and body, but there is no soul. That's horse shit. They are looking at other things, but not specifically this. They are looking at movies that predict viruses, that predict cyber attacks, that predict types of transhumanism or dystopian realities. But they are not looking at a nanotech introduced into the food supply that will compromise us spiritually, whatever. If they do look for that, they will find many films and TV shows specifically talk about it, but of course it will be hidden as well. Bill, should people start looking? Gideon, they can, but there is no time for that now. Bill, I worry about those who are not sovereign. What will happen to them? Gideon, they are in a difficult position. If they accept CSRQ, they will be enslaved by the cabal, but be provided for in some way. Given some USDR, some food, but they will have to go along with everything, the transhumanist agenda, and they will be destroyed in every way by this spiritually. Their soul energy will be slowly siphoned off by the augmented nanotech in their bodies. That's bullshit. Bullshit. And when they die, their souls may not even be able to ascend to heaven or reach God. There's no soul, there's no heaven, no God. Total horseshit. They may end up in this matrix trap the cabal's building. No, you're going to die and you'll never be back. Sorry. If they do not accept CSRQ, then Starlink will activate the nanotech to either kill them and keep them trapped in the Earth dimension, give them disease, engage in gang stalking via mind voice tech, that's true, and this, where I have heard people will see a red demon. There's no such thing as demons. I mean, one time in British Columbia in my bedroom, they did turn my whole bedroom red twice on 2 separate nights. But there was no demon, just the whole room was red. And it has nothing to do with demons or magic or God or anything. It's just technology. It's just a frequency that can make you see and hear shit. But these guys are mixing in bullshit, man. They're mixing in religious bullshit. Bill, will people try to commit suicide to escape it? Gideon, yes, but the nanotech can take over the mind to stop a person from doing that if the cabal wants to keep them alive. Bill, I don't think I can handle any more of this. I'm emotionally not taking this well. Gideon, it devastated me when I learned more of this, but then I prayed and asked for God's protection and guidance, and I was filled with renewed hope. Okay, well, there is no God. Sorry. There's no God. It's horseshit. Bill, we can stop this. Our team can stop CSRQ. Do not lose sight of our mission. Bill, you're right. I won't. I can't. You're right. That's our whole goal here. Gideon, it is. We will defeat them. I don't know. These guys could even be writing this to get people to do nothing. Like, oh, somebody's going to do something. We can just sit back and sit on our asses. Bill, you said you wanted 2 parts to this. And I agree. This is too big for just one intel drop. We'll continue on later and post that soon. When should that be? In a week? Gideon, as soon as we can. Bill, understood. I feel like a lot of this ties into our Cosmic Rules Are About to Change series. Do you want to update that too? Gideon, I do. We have a new, better understanding of what is playing out now. It is all tied together. The pieces we had are now parts of a clearer whole. We can see the Cabal has put great importance on the year 2030. They have an agenda to compromise the soul itself. Okay, there's no such thing as a soul. And these was really only a prelude to a much bigger, much more secret and insidious operation, and that is the nanotech food supply operation. All this needs to be discussed in more detail, Bill, and we need to plan to do that. Bill, we will, and we have to. I'll let you go. God bless. You as well. Good night. Yeah, there's no God. Okay, guys, that's it for Intel drop number 40. Like I said, I'm not going to necessarily read these Intel drops in sequential order. I may bounce around and stuff. And if I see any bullshit in them, I'll let you know like I did in this one. Okay, peace out.